Hi, my name is David Myron, and on behalf of the Ohio Department of Agriculture, welcome to the OFMA spring meetings. A little introduction about myself. My name, like I said, is David Myron. I'm the chief of the Division of Amusement Ride Safety. I've been with the Ohio Department of Agriculture now for over 7 years. Most of that time has been with the legal office. I've represented almost every division within the department. In addition to my chief roles within amusement ride safety, I also run the hemp program for the department. So this is a new challenge for me, and I'm very excited to get to know everybody across the state of Ohio and all the county and independent fairs. So that's a little bit about me, but let's talk about ODA. One of the things that I always like to talk about when I start these presentations is the mission of the Ohio Department of Agriculture. What we do at the department is we protect citizens. We ensure that all the livestock in the state of Ohio is free of any dangerous and contagious diseases. We ensure that the food that's being produced in the state is being produced in safe and sanitary environments. And from an amusement ride standpoint as well, we ensure and inspect every single ride that's operating in this state to ensure that it's being, whether it's being put together properly, does it meet the appropriate standards, appropriate national standards, and are the ride operators doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think it's really important to start with that mission because that really understands what we do as a department from every divisional standpoint. But let's talk about the fiscal situation of the fairs, of each individual fair. Wanted to provide some quick updates as to many of the financial situations. Let's start with the capital appropriations. Senate Bill 310, as you're aware, awarded capital appropriation dollars for projects at several county fair societies. Those contracts have all been executed by the fairs, and we are expecting at ODA that all of those funds be distributed to each of the fairs by the 1st of May. We are working through some administrative aspects of whether or not we can release them before we go to controlling board. That's a decision that still has not been made. We are working on understanding that decision, and hopefully we can get these funds out to you as soon as possible. The Agricultural Society's Facilities Capital Grant, this program allocated $50,000 to each fair to spend on capital projects. Those contracts have all been executed. We have not received reimbursement requests from several fairs at this point. We will be reaching out to each one of those fairs to provide them information as to how they submit their reimbursement documentation here in the next couple days. If you have any questions or you get that email, feel free to reach out to our office and we'll be able to walk you through it. CARES funding. All fairs either received $15,000 or $50,000 in CARES funding, depending on whether or not you had a junior fair last year. Original guidance from the federal government indicated that those funds were to be spent by December 31st of 2020. However, with the change to the Biden administration, those funds are now allowed to be spent into 2021. So fairs with unspent funds must report how they have spent that money by April 1st of 2021, and we will let you know exactly how to report that information. So there are a handful of fairs that still have CARES dollars. Those are listed here. We will reach out to those fairs as well to talk with them and to provide the reporting template of how to report those outstanding funds. Harness racing funds. Those funds have been calculated and are being processed through Ohio Shared Services. All fairs will receive their funding on either March 15th or March 22nd, depending on whether or not those funds are being sent electronic or by paper check. This year, due to COVID, obviously the horse tracks across the state of Ohio were not open for a significant period of time. And what that means for us is that there's less money to be sent out to the fairs. Those funds are listed below on the spreadsheet or on the PowerPoint presentation. We hope that next year that these funds are obviously back to more traditional levels. As for junior fair premiums, they are on the same track as the harness racing funds in terms of distribution, but all fairs will receive up to $4,007.99 in funding. Those funds are allocated on a prorated basis as well, but all fairs should be receiving their appropriate amount of junior fair premiums on either, like I said, March 15th or March 22nd. Just wanted to provide some quick fiscal reminders. The Ohio Department of Agriculture cannot update your information with Ohio Shared Services. That's incumbent on each and every fair to update their own information. Provided on the PowerPoint is a phone number in which you can reach Ohio Shared Services. Please, please, please reach out to them and make sure that your information is updated. IRS 990s. I know that this is a topic that comes up every single year. As a reminder, all county and independent fairs are required to file their own IRS 990. This is regardless of whether or not you file under ODA's blanket exemption or have your own blanket or your own exemption. Not filing your IRS 990 can compromise your fair's nonprofit status. It can result in tax issues. So please file your IRS 990 as soon as possible. We highly recommend at ODA that you obtain your own individual exemption, and we'd be happy to provide a letter of support and assist to each fair to obtain their own exemption. But if you have questions on this, again, please reach out to ODA and we can help educate you. A legislative update, House Bill 665, which modernized a significant portion of the laws and rules regarding county and independent ag societies, was passed into law. Just some quick brief highlights. It increased the county treasurer max from 800 to 1600, as well as it streamlined annual financial reports. Those changes in House Bill 65 are ODA is now making Red Book changes in response to that. So we are working with OFMA leadership to incorporate those changes, as well as frankly modernize the Red Book and bring it up to 2021. 2021 is kind of a theme within the FAIRS program at the moment. We want to modernize the FAIRS office. We want to make reporting more streamlined and centralized, simplify and reduce the number of forms that we require that you submit to us, and eventually establish a system where FAIRS can upload documents, verify receipt, and determine if ODA has approved those reports. All those things are not going to happen overnight, but we wanted to share with you this goal to give you an idea of where we're moving forward. Additionally, another goal of our office is to provide additional training opportunities and resources. And so some of those things are, creating new training members or new member training for directors that have recently been voted onto the board, as well as develop general resources on ODA's websites where fairs can reference rules and regulations, understanding elections, reporting, whatever they need to do. We just want to put that on the website for instant access to training. Now, one thing that we do want to say is on that front is that that's really up to you. You guys need to provide us with information as to what you are looking for training on. The other side of the coin is the Amusement Rights Safety Division. A very brief division update is that on March 15th, we will be bringing 2 inspectors back, as well as on March 22nd, we will be bringing additional 2 inspectors. That will bring us up to 8 inspectors. So it will give us the workforce necessary to ensure that the rides at your fairs are inspected properly. And with that, I want to introduce Ron Dean, who's one of the most experienced inspectors we have on staff, to give you a general update as to the ride program itself. Ron?
Thanks, Dave. So I'd like to give everybody just a little bit of an overview of what the inspection process entails. Dave talked about some of the technology and advancements. Our division a couple of years ago had the luxury of going all digital. So all of our documents that are produced are done on a computer. It has simplified, made things more real time. So that's a nice advantage going forward for everyone. Part of that change was also registering with the division. So all companies now are required to register within a department's dashboard. They'll submit company information, and top of that, they're required to obtain insurance documents, all of which needs to be in place before the inspection can even happen. So that's all done digitally, electronically. On top of all those, they can also request their inspection from that same dashboard. That's what tells us where they're going to be located at and when they need the actual inspection completed. This can happen at any place throughout the state of Ohio, including any of the given fairs, which does happen on occasion. Once all the documents are obtained within the office, the inspection process starts with the initial inspection. So the initial inspection is a required inspection to take place. That's what gives them the ability to operate anywhere in the state of Ohio. It's a lot like registering your vehicle. Each ride is given an identification placard. There's a sticker that you could locate and identify on there that tells you that it has had an inspection and has passed for that operating year. And there's also a paper document, much like a registration, that coincides with all of that. That's just a means for anyone out there that wants to know if a ride has, in fact, had an inspection and is allowed to operate. On top of the initial inspections, we can do any given inspection, because it's called a supplemental. These can be done at any time throughout the operating season. That's why the itineraries are important to us. One new thing that has come up is House Bill 189, which most folks will hear it referred to as Tyler's Law. So Tyler's Law made some changes as far as the inspection process also. What Tyler's Law now does is it classifies all the rides we look at outside of any permitting fees. This is a classification to determine the nature of the ride. So there's a couple different ones. A low intensity ride, much like a merry-go-round. An intermediate ride, where you may find a ride maybe spins faster than normal, or maybe goes upside down. A tower is deemed as an attraction anything over 20 foot. And then obviously we have roller coasters. So each of those classifications determines how many inspectors are required to do be on location for that inspection. It also could require an additional inspection. So anything other than a low intensity is going to require 2 inspections and 2 inspectors in order to complete that task. That's something for the department to handle internally, but it is something that potentially could happen at your local fair. So we might be there doing an inspection as part of Tyler's Law. On top of the inspection process, we have incidents that sometimes happen. We work to avoid that, but accidents do happen, and we need to be reporting those in a timely fashion. It is the ride company's responsibility to report accidents, but we always encourage involvement with the fairs when stuff like that happens, because a lot of times the fairs are utilizing local EMS or fire departments for their first aid. So we really want to work hand in hand in there, because a lot of times it gets lost in the shuffle as to the condition of an individual or how serious it is once they leave the fairgrounds. So accident reporting is any injury that happens on an amusement ride, okay, and it requires immediate hospitalization. So slips, trips, and falls out in the midway don't coincide with this. This is something that would have to happen on an amusement ride. But again, we like to have everybody on the same page when stuff like this happens, so we can respond in a timely manner. On top of the ride side of the inspections, while we're on the midways, we're also going to be doing game inspections. So any concession operator that has a game on the midway will be required, just like the ride companies, to register their company, list the games that they wish to have licensed. At that point, while we were on the midway, we will walk to each individual game. We will identify that it has proper signage, that the game is being played that is fair to the patrons. And then at that point, they will also be given a license to operate, which would be posted for anybody to walk up and see that it has in fact had an inspection and is able to operate. With that, kind of a general note on anything amusement ride that we do for you folks out on the midways. I believe we'll send it over to Cindy Bodie with Animal Health.
Hi, everyone. Just to go over a few things in the packets that you normally receive. They are going to be somehow online this year. That's yet to be determined, but the documents are going to be the same. So we have the vet approval form, the optional rule notification form, and the notification of designated records official. All of these need to be returned to us at least 20 days prior to the fair, sooner if they can. That allows us to get the test kits ready and scheduling and stuff like that for the testing. So next will be the rules that come in those packets. You have your health exhibition rules, your tampering exhibition rules, and the Livestock Show Reform Act or the tampering law. Just be sure to review those. If you have any questions, let us know and we'll help you out through that. Additional information, the fact sheet, which you all have received before, there's really nothing new for this year. There's the Scrapie information sheet, new from last year, be the owner shipper and tag information sheet for sheep and goats, tells you what kind of tags are acceptable and when the owner shippers are required. So those are very important. If you have any questions, again, you can contact us or USDA for that information. We also have the swine influenza information that we've put in the past. And there's my contact information. Again, if you ever have any questions, feel free to contact me and we'll help you out.
Thanks, Cindy. Thanks everybody for listening today. I just want to reiterate, on behalf of the department, we look forward to working with everybody this year. Please, please, please reach out and ask us questions. That is what we're here for. We'd rather that you ask us questions in advance rather than trying to put things back together after the fact. So again, thank you very much and have a great day.